Hi, I'm Justin Boyd.
Hi, I'm George Luna.
Hello, I'm Frank Cooper.
I'm Nathan Hale.
And I'm the other magical girl in town. And we are the Watchers in the Basement.
Yes, we are. And we are back to talk about the 8th episode of WandaVision. The title of this episode was called Previously On, but I think it should have been called This Is Your Life, Wanda Maximoff. God, it sucks. What a terrible life Wanda's lived. I mean, the magic's kind of cool. I would definitely take the magic, but she's had a tough life. What did y'all think overall of the episode that we watched recently?
Just want to say I fucking called it the whole time. That's it. That's all I want to say.
You called it that Wanda had a terrible life, or what?
That
What's
included.
Okay.
No, that Agatha was manipulating, doing all this shit to her as well. She had a hand in it the entire time.
But I don't think she's totally in control of it, though.
No, not all of it, but
Yeah.
all the fucked up shit that was like happening.
Yeah.
The killing the dog and all that great stuff, you know.
That's not great stuff, George. You and I have dogs. That's not great.
So I'm still wondering if John Wick's going to show up last episode to come after her.
Hopefully. That'd be perfect.
That would have been a good idea.
Yeah, Frank, what did you think of this episode?
Man, this shit's fucking dope, man. I don't know what else to say about it. Like, it gets better and better and better. And that motherfucker Lizzie Olsen, dog, she's a goddamn G, man. She can act her ass off. I love it. It not only did it answer a lot of questions, it really just gave you the origin story of Wanda that you don't really get from other non-Avengers, well, of the main Avengers. So like it was pretty cool seeing that, and I mean, I can't wait for the season finale.
Yeah, and that's also up in the air because like there's conflicting information about whether there's 9 episodes for the season or there's actually going to be 10. So I mean, either
there's 9.
Justin says it's 9.
Yeah, Friday is the season finale.
Okay.
If you look at Disney's like social media, they're even promoting that Friday is the season finale.
Okay.
When do we when's Winter Soldier, Falcon Winter Soldier? Like
It's March 19th. March
Okay.
19th. So we have 2 weeks off. But March 18th is the Snyder Cut. So we're going to have to block out that day.
no one hears.
I'm really excited, honestly. I think, you know what? I've come all the way around on this thing. I think it might be the greatest movie ever. I think it's like...
All right, everyone. So this is going to be the last episode for Justin hosting the Watchers in the Basement.
Yeah, because I'm going to start the Justin League where I'm talking only about the Justice League exclusively.
And the Justin League only consists of one person, Justin.
It'll have one view and one listen. So.
Justin.
A league of his own.
That's good.
That's a good one.
That was good, Nathan.
So Nathan, what did you think about it? The episode?
I think this was my favorite episode yet. I thought it was fantastic getting to see the kind of trek back through her life and what brought her to that point. And while there weren't like a ton of surprises, I also really enjoyed that Agatha kind of took her for that ride, and we got to see some of her origin as well. Which I'll get to later, and I can't take credit for this. I was watching a video earlier today kind of about some of the things in it, which I had considered, but I didn't know enough of the background from the comics, but it makes a lot of sense. I'll bring that up later. If you guys some of you already have the same idea, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's probably like I said, my favorite episode to date.
Yeah, I agree too. I mean, this, again, not completely jam-packed with action, because I know we all really enjoy episodes and things that have action, but the story, for one, George said it in our chat after watching it, it was just really sad for Wanda. Like, her life has just been very sad, obviously. She has a lot of low points, which explains her grief and her, PTSD and whatnot. But like, also learning about Agatha, and I've got a lot of theories on this too, about Agatha and even Hayward. I'm just going to say it at the top of this show because I really want to get y'all's feedback on Hayward. But with Wanda and the big reveal first time hearing her comic book name is Scarlet Witch, and learning what does that mean, being the Scarlet Witch? What is this chaos magic? What is this spontaneity of being able to create? You know, what does that mean? So this obviously is a great cliffhanger for the season finale, and they've got to do it big for this season finale.
I guess what I'm so confused on is with Agatha. It didn't show live her origin story in the beginning of the episode, but we got a glimpse that, well, I could gather that she was studying black magic during the Salem witchcraft era of that time period. So she's not foreign to like doing, you know, magic that's taboo or magic that you're not supposed to really conduct. So why does she feel so threatened by Scarlet Witch with her magic when you're doing dirty magic too? Or
I think it's
the level to the extreme she's able to do it. And yes, there's a very good theory out there, and it ties actually to the comics. And again, like I said, I heard this online. It's not something I knew about. I knew pieces of it, but not enough to be able to put it together. But I don't want to talk about that until we get towards the end.
Yeah. So shall we go into the breakdown of this episode, Justin?
Yeah, let's do that.
Right.
Just the overall kind of crux of the episode was Agatha was like taking Wanda down this like painful trip down memory lane, and the reason why Agatha
rerun.
Right. The reason why Agatha was doing this is because she was trying to figure out how Wanda, created the hex, created Westview. But like Frank alluded to, the episode opened with we're in Salem, Massachusetts. It's 1693. It's a Salem witch trial, I guess, and Agatha's being put on the stand or the pike, so to speak, and she's surrounded by the stake. There you go. I was close. I was like getting
words.
Warmer,
words are hard.
Yeah.
Words
The
are hard.
hamburger.
Steak, yeah. No, but she was surrounded by these witches. They were good. I don't know. Brittany, you want to take it from here? What was going on with that? Do you have any theories or?
This intro was really cool because I think, Justin, you might have said this, and guys, jump in whenever you feel the need to say something, but like this was almost like a movie type of intro. I mean, this is obviously a TV show, but this was like kind of taking it to like a movie level, in my opinion, as well as Justin's, I believe, because you're seeing Agatha at the stake. She's surrounded by the coven of witches, and she's asked, "Are you a witch?" "Yes, I'm a witch." "Okay, but you've also betrayed your coven by studying magic that's above your age and your station." So even within covens, you have these rules that you need to abide by, and she's being addressed by her own mother, that we come to find out. So her mother too, like, calls out Agatha about manipulation, and I kind of want to put a pin in that because, again, I think manipulation at this point is going to be like a really big theme in the last episode. So with her mother, saying enough of this deception and what have you, the witches turn on Agatha. They're using their powers on her, and she fights back from within. She's projecting her own power, this assumed dark, type of power. I wanted to relate it to that of Doctor Strange in a way, with Dormammu, with the Ancient One. She was drawing power from somewhere that she shouldn't have been. That's my opinion. But whatever it may be, Agatha is pretty powerful, and it bends to her will, and she kills, the coven along with her mother. But I want to focus on her mother for just a quick moment. I don't know if y'all noticed this, when the final attempt of her mother to take down Agatha, we saw like this illusion of this kind of crown, appear along with, her projecting her powers. And I wanted to get y'all's take on that interpretation. What do you think that signifies? I'm going to pick on George first.
I saw that too. I did notice that, but I figured that since she was like the mother, like the most powerful one or something, that, I don't know, she was a queen of this magic. I have no idea about the witches in the MCU or what the Marvel comics or anything like that. So I just assumed that she was like the Queen Witch or something like that. So I didn't really look into it.
No, that's fair.
Anything like that.
Yeah, Frank, what did you have an interpretation, or did you see that kind of crown illusion?
Yeah, I mean, I think when she leveled up, I saw the crown too. I just took it as she's the head bitch in charge. There's a chain of command, a chain of autonomy, and her daughter superseded that and was out of pocket. That's what I took out of it.
Okay, Nathan.
Okay, so I have a theory. There's power that the Scarlet Witch possesses. She's now been named in this episode the Scarlet Witch. I believe that there's like a tier, as George put it, of like a queen, if you will. And what Agatha wants is the power that the Scarlet Witch possesses. She was generally in shock and awe when the dog died, and the twins were saying, "Bring him back, bring him back." And if you look at Agatha there, she was generally startled by the fact, and she in fact says, "You can bring people back to life."
Mm-hmm.
And that was a very big moment for Agatha.
Mm-hmm.
And what I believe is she wants the power and that her mother possessed,
Mm-hmm.
and that title, that role of the Scarlet Witch. And if you'll notice, the Scarlet Witch, her costume has a crown.
Yes.
And when she got her powers from the Mind Stone and she saw that image floating toward her of a woman in light,
Mm-hmm.
they had a crown on. And I think she was seeing the Scarlet Witch, the entity herself,
Mm-hmm.
something in that.
Okay, Nathan, I have a little question. If her mom was that strong, how could Agatha have beat her like that easily?
I could tell you now, and I can't take credit for this, but I did say I would hold this till the end. So put a pin in that, and then we'll talk about it at the end.
Okay.
Remember that
All right.
question.
All right.
Yeah, no, so like when I first saw that crown, I figured, okay, there's some significance. And then after rewatching it earlier today, I'm like, oh, maybe this is, Nathan, as you put it, or George, like an early tier or some kind of level of a Scarlet Witch. Maybe the mother didn't possess all of the powers of the Scarlet Witch, but she had something. And I think with Agatha possessing darker magic, it still can't match what the Scarlet Witch may possess. That's just my opinion about it. But the last part of this, once Agatha, ultimately destroys everyone, including her mother, she takes this brooch off of her mom, and I don't know of any significance behind this brooch. Do y'all have any feedback?
I mean,
on that?
it's kind of symbol. I don't know if there's a direct, but I mean, it's three women, so there's it could be the three fates. It could be all throughout Macbeth.
Mm-hmm.
Look at all your various legends, and there's always these coven of three witches, that represent the stages through time. The maiden, the mother, and the matron. I can't remember
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. I hadn't considered that, but yeah, that's pretty much wraps up Agatha's background, and the fact that she ultimately is a powerful witch, but now she has Wanda in her basement, within her power. And I thought this was weird. Agatha assumes that Wanda is a natural witch, because she's talking to her as if like, oh, these are ancient runes and it's protective spells, and like, how do you not know this? And I mean, do y'all feel that Wanda was a natural witch?
She wasn't. I don't
Well, that's just it. I think she was, because before she came in contact with the Mind Stone, she, as Agatha put it, used hex magic to stop the Stark bomb.
But she didn't know about it. She
didn't know,
she
and that's what I'm
witch.
saying. I think she was a natural witch. Like she
could have been, she could have been born like that, but she had no idea.
Correct.
I thought that's what Brittany was asking.
Yeah,
Well,
no, I don't think she knew.
Yeah, so that's kind of like what I see Frank's, wheels turning in there, because, I think with the Mind Stone, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, it potentially enhances the skills that you already possess. So if Wanda was a natural witch, because she's referred to as a baby, baby witch, you were using a hex probability, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
you know, whether and it's just kind of interesting that we never really got the true origin of you know, Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, because if they did possess those skills, the Mind Stone would have enhanced those skills, right? I don't know, it's just kind of interesting. Frank, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, if that's the case, this is totally deviates from the comic books.
Yeah, because they're directly mutants in the
Yeah,
comics.
they're mutants. So I guess in this fabrication of these characters, if she was a natural witch, would that mean Quicksilver was a Wiccan?
Well, there is. Well, no, I don't think that's a possibility in the route they've gone. Because I think, you know, knowing Marvel, the MCU, they planned this out so long ago, and it's probably before they realized they would be able to acquire the rights to the X-Men and the mutants. So they had to devise a different way, and they had to devise that back in, well, when did Age of Ultron come out? Several years before that, really.
Yeah.
So it was long before they knew they'd have Fox and the rights to the X-Men again. So I think they kind of had to go this route, and I don't think they wanted to change because there's probably a lot of storyline that pivots on that style of origin for their characters as opposed to the mutant gene.
While on topic with the mutant gene, I'm gonna bring Justin back into the fold. Fake Pietro. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say. So I was going to kick it around to y'all. So do y'all think this now? I mean, so it's confusing because Agatha says that, you know, she mentions to Wanda that that she, you know, basically brought Pietro back, or brought this Pietro to Westview, but she was only his eyes and ears. So I mean, so I have a lot of questions. I wonder, so is this Pietro because it's Evan Peters from the X-Men universe? Is it actually that Pietro? Does, you know, if not, how do you explain the powers? Because I mean, if she could create superpowered beings, what's the point of dealing with Wanda if you could just create a bunch of your own X-Men or whatever mutants?
I think that it is existent in a very limited fashion. It's somewhat of a construct. And I don't think it can exist in the same way that things that Wanda's creating can. Because Wanda can create and restore life. She can't do that. So this thing exists as a kind of like a golem or a construct. I can't remember the term she specifically used, but it's not per se living. Now, let me also point out a thought that occurred to me as you were saying that Wanda can essentially create life. So she decides she wants Pietro to be alive. What's
Right.
to say that by the end of this, he isn't?
Wait, you're
I don't
saying
know.
that
Just throwing that out there.
the Pietro that we see is gonna be Pietro going forward?
That's kind of where I'm leaning, because I will also say, I know as far as those movies went, he was one of the most popular characters they had. He was just, his rendition of Quicksilver was actually more popular than the MCU's.
Yeah. I mean, the MCU character, honestly, he only had a movie and an end credit scene.
End
So
credit
it's not like
scene,
he had, yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I think that's something that's maybe hasn't been as reported is the fact that people wonder why. I think his name's Aaron Taylor Johnson, who played the MCU Pietro. He has some kind of weird deal where he doesn't like to do sequels. So I guess he doesn't like money or something. He's allergic to it.
Yeah, that could
And so that's why
that happened
that's
to me.
why they
That's
didn't
why
want,
I'm not,
I get-
super rich.
Right. Yeah. I have the same affliction. I understand.
It's a curse, but
It's a curse.
Goodbye.
It's not a gift, really. It's just a curse. It's just all bad. No, but that's why that actor didn't return. But I wonder, instead of that, I think they've kind of come up with a better idea. But given what Agatha said, do we think? And we all got excited about the X-Men possibly being in this show, or bringing Magneto or whoever back. Do y'all think that's going to happen in the finale, or do you think that's what they?
No,
will do?
after this episode, I don't think that's the route they're going at all.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
I'm going to say, because of the fact that in this adaptation, we see that Wanda's and Pietro's parents are whatever their names are, and Magneto is not the father in this world. So there's no evidence of any crossover whatsoever.
Plus the fact that they've now kind of said her powers are more or less definitively not mutant in origin.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Agreed.
I don't think that's the route they'll go.
So that's kind of a bummer. I mean, and I do
Frank
feel
is over
like
here
the
processing.
I
Frank
do
is
feel like the
so
MCU.
sad.
Frank,
Nope.
what? Share your thoughts. What's going on?
No Michael Fassbender.
No, it's just you guys are just pretty much solidified that it's virtually almost impossible. Let's just reboot the whole series, reboot all these characters to tie these origin stories in their respective places, as far as the mutant origins and the parental origins of these characters. It's just gonna be deep down. I really wanted to see Michael Fassbender show up in this adaptation, but
to that end, I wouldn't totally discount that because there's still a multiverse movie getting ready to come out.
There's actually two of them.
Two of them.
Spider-Man
Yeah,
3, which will
Spider-Man,
be
of course. I was thinking Doctor Strange.
yeah, Spider-Man 3 comes out at Christmas time 2021, and then Doctor Strange comes out in 2022.
And I'll be honest, I think the most likely cameo, in my opinion, at this point, is Doctor Strange for the final episode.
same here.
I agree. I definitely agree. But I think with this episode though, I'm going to kind of steer it back to the breakdown. So we do find out that with Wanda's backstory, it was her that has the love for the old time TV shows, that she shared with her family growing up back in Sokovia with, the I Love Lucy's, Dick Van Dyke, which I absolutely still love because the fact that Dick Van Dyke was a consultant on this show, because they obviously used the home set, and giving credit to Dick Van Dyke because he's just awesome. But, different little hints here and there. So with the explosion that had happened in the Maximoff household, it's contradictory to the story that Pietro had given us in Age of Ultron. He had originally said it was while they were having dinner, their parents went to go check if there were any survivors within the debris, and then like a second bomb went off. So in this episode, it was they were watching television and then the bomb went off, which, by the way, I knew that was going to happen. It still scared the shit out of me when it happened. Cause I'm like, they're little kids. Like, why?
I gotta say, the bomb, seeing Stark Industries was so cool. Like that whole not the killing of the parents, but it was just so cool to see that logo, and like they're so great about how they connect everything, and it's all one big giant story. And that's
well, what was kind of interesting is, remember the Stark toaster commercial?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the blinking red light
Yep.
on the Stark toaster, kind of reminiscent of that bomb.
Yes.
exactly. Yeah.
That was all
Good
appropriate.
point.
But the fact that this is the way of Agatha trying to get into Wanda's head about how it is that she acquired her power, but we're seeing these little nuggets here and there. That's a great callback to these earlier films, because this event happens obviously well before the Iron Man movie back in 2008. And then we move on to the laboratory, the Hydra laboratory, right, with Wanda being tested. I do want to throw this out there. The Hydra tech that was on camera looked an awful lot like Mads Mikkelsen, or is that just me?
We talked about this. I don't think that was him, but
Okay.
I don't know.
Who the fuck is Matt Mickelson?
The
Yeah,
dude
that's
from
my question.
the guy from Doctor Strange.
Caecilius,
Yeah, the bad guy.
the zealot in Doctor Strange. I know that's not one of your favorite movies, but
I don't remember. Oh, okay. I don't know.
I think it. I mean, I don't think it necessarily was, but I think it could have been, because the guy did look like a younger version of him. Like, it looks like if you got an actor to kind of play him from 20 years before Doctor Strange, 10 years, or whatever the time difference is.
to me it looked like him, but it's a stretch. I'm pretty sure it's not him, but that would kind of be like a good link between this show and then Doctor Strange, obviously, because we know Wanda is going to have a role in the multiverse. But that was just me. And then we move on from the Hydra. Well, we already talked a little bit about the Mind Stone. Was it weird to see that the Mind Stone came to Wanda? Because I don't think it's ever, from what we've seen, it's never done that.
I don't know.
All of
That's pretty
that. Go ahead, George. Go ahead.
No, I said it was pretty trippy because it did come to her, and then I don't know if y'all caught, like, when they looked at it in the security camera, nothing happened.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it glitched. So I was like,
So-
how the fuck did they miss that?
So the question I have there, one of two things. So did all of that occur in more or less a split second and more or less in her mind? Like it physically didn't move, but the power went to her and that's how in that she visualized it? Or just like she does in the WandaVision television show, did she edit out what she didn't want seen?
Probably both. I don't know. I think it could be a little bit of both.
I guess with the editing out part, why would it matter if they know the end result is that she received or obtained power?
I don't know. I just thought the glitch was very reminiscent of the many times she's just kind of been like, I don't like the way this is going. Refresh the show or restart the show or whatever.
Yeah.
See, at that point, was she in charge of that? Because isn't Agatha in charge of this whole, like, you know, trip
Not
down
when the
memory
show restarts. That's Wanda. That's
Yeah.
Wanda saying, this is not the reality I want. I'm changing it right now.
Right.
Plot twist: the Mind Stone is in control of everything. I don't know.
Maybe.
I mean, I've always thought it had a mind of its own. That's just my personal opinion.
It's in the name.
But I'm
Yeah,
bummed.
it's in the name.
Anyway,
So after the Hydra stuff, we go to the Avengers Compound, which I thought was really cool. And so this is like what? This is like around
well, this is after
Age of
Pietro-
Ultron or
Civil War.
Civil
Yeah.
War, Civil War. Okay.
Well, it was. I guess it had been in between Age of Ultron and then Civil War because she had said that Pietro was dead and she was in a new country. This first home that she and Vision shared.
Right.
So yeah.
I'm thinking that's during their training, the Avenger training, when all the original Avengers leave and like Captain America and Black Widow are like training these new trainees. I'm thinking during that time before they go to Nigeria.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I do want to say, Justin, I think you had pointed this out to me about the whole Malcolm in the Middle thing being in the briefcase that the father had. That's factually like incorrect because if Wanda was born in 89, as Wu had said, Malcolm in the Middle actually didn't premiere until what, 2000?
2000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not factually consistent, but like
Hey guys, it's what I've always said. Marvel sucks. They're just not good at this. Like they
The
just
continuity's terrible. Like, for
No.
example, they said it was episode 21, the Walnut episode of Dick Van Dyke. It was technically episode 20, although it was also mismarked on the DVD to be 21. So, you know.
And then like the pilot is an episode, but do you count the pilot as one or is it's very
It
confusing.
depends on it whether it's the cockpit seats one or two pilots.
oh, y'all are funny. No, but
The old
yeah,
two-seater. Yeah.
that was one thing I wanted to just mention about Malcolm in the Middle. Still love the show. I think it was a fantastic show. But I like what Vision, of course, had to say about loved ones, and it can't just all be grief or sorrow. You know, it's love persevering, and
Yeah.
that was a really great message. You know, I apologize if you hear Luna in the back; she's crazy, but with I think this show, whether intentionally or intentionally, they're addressing like mental health in many ways. And so for people who obviously feel struggles of, getting past a death or whatever trauma has gone on in their life, this is doing a really great job for one addressing it, but also giving you some kind of boost and kind of hope. It's not all bad. Like you have to persevere. But I love seeing the first kind of real interaction between like Wanda and Vision in that moment in her room. It was very
So,
sweet.
did you see Agatha's reaction to that moment? And I
did.
still don't know if it was sarcastic or not, but if it was sarcastic, it was lost on the only audience because Wanda's back was turned to her and she kind of wipes the tear from her eye.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I noticed that too.
I think hopefully it was a real moment. It wasn't sarcasm because
I think it might have been. And again, I'll save that for the end.
okay. I'll with that.
So the next thing that happens is where we fast forward to after Infinity War, after Endgame, and Wanda is going to the sword facility to see Vision's body, to hopefully recover it and then, give him a proper funeral. And this is like, to me, this is the most interesting part of the show because there's a lot of stuff that's packed into like a few things. I mean, like the fact that, okay, Tony Stark and Bruce Banner created Vision using Ultron, right? Yeah. So why would Sword have the jurisdiction to commandeer Vision's $3 million worth of vibranium body?
One word. Sentient. Sentient, right?
But wouldn't the Avengers have like
first dibs?
Yeah, like would Bruce Banner? Go ahead.
Didn't they end up having to sign something in the Civil War where they gave up certain rights?
Yep.
Yeah, but not all of them signed it, right?
Yeah, Bruce Banner didn't sign it. He wasn't in that movie. He was on Ragnarok.
He was in space.
And I don't think Wanda signed it either.
No,
Captain America didn't sign it.
I think when Tony, because Tony is pretty much the de facto leader of the Avengers. I think once he signed, and with the I don't know, the United Nations and General Ross and all of them, I think they took precedence after that. And then after Endgame, everybody went separate ways. Thor left. Wanda, is in an emotional state of array. Tony's dead. Captain America's retired. So I think the government pretty much took over the body of Vision.
Yeah. Did anyone else find it weird that, like, this is 5 years more or less after Vision died, that they're cutting him up like now? I mean, it wasn't like precision either. They're just like, let's hack off some bits. Like they just started like earlier that morning, and you think, well, you had him for 5 years, what took you so long? I don't know. I thought that was kind of weird.
I mean, did they have him for 5 years? Or like,
but I mean, where would his body have been before that? And that could have been like maybe.
Well, it was in Wakanda,
in the closet or something.
Closet. That's awful.
That's a problem that I have as well. Like, Wakanda is one of the most impenetrable places in the world. Like, even with T'Challa gone, and Shuri gone, why would the I guess they're in command allow that body to be confiscated off their land?
Yeah,
right.
That's
true.
It's weird.
But I want to talk about Hayward. Justin, can I take over for just a second? Talk about Hayward.
Go for it.
So in leading up to Wanda meeting Hayward, she basically says, I want to give him a funeral. Like, I deserve that. He deserves that, right? So she is told where to go find director, right? She, uses her powers to get in. Cool. Fear Wanda. But when she meets Hayward, he's very, very cool, very chill, whatever. And he says to her, like, I want to show you something. And then she says, and then you'll give him to me, referring to Vision, because she is his next of kin, if you will. And so Hayward more or less agrees and leads her to, the other side of his office to show her the lab that shows the dismantled Vision. And in that whole conversation, Wanda has asked Hayward, what are you doing? Why are you showing me this? And he kind of looks at her puzzled, like, well, you asked to see this. Well, no, she didn't. Okay, keep in mind. So when she, is seeing what's happening to Vision, the person she loves, and he's saying, I can't release him to you, to a person who has the power to bring him back online, to bring him back to life. I'm like, wait a minute. Where did that information come from? At what point prior to the show did we get that information of her having that capability of being able to bring anything back to life? Obviously, we've had the hints here and there from the kids saying, Mom, bring back Sparky. You have the power to bring him back to life. And Hayward says it just so matter-of-factly, and she's like, I can't do that. That's not why I'm here. And so because of that, and I'm willing to die on this hill. Hayward is not who he says he is. He, like Agatha, is somebody else, someone powerful. We've talked, off the show about characters such as Mephisto, or I'm probably mispronouncing that. Sorry.
That's right. No, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm also thinking it could be somebody else, someone who has knowledge of her powers that she knows not of. I am willing to die on that hill here and now. Quote me. So, any thoughts, guys, of what y'all think about Hayward? He's obviously lied because ultimately Wanda does not take the body. He tried to manipulate her to say, hey, you wanted to see this. He tried to manipulate the team about saying that Wanda was the bad person because she took the Vision's body, and Monica Rambeau is like, no, we need to help her. He's manipulating a lot. Could he be somebody that he really isn't right now?
It's all
That's an
calculated.
interesting- What's that?
It's all calculated.
That's an interesting theory you bring up.
Thank you.
And it was clearly he needed her power that he was aware of to some degree to get an item charged with that to create the white vision.
Yes.
So that does speak to a level of knowledge that at that time not even Wanda knew existed. Huh.
Doesn't it seem like, I mean, I never thought he was anybody else until this episode, like Brittany just said, because like he was way too cool with Wanda. As powerful as she is, he didn't seem startled when she came in there. When she's looking at Vision, he's behind her. He even says like, he's not yours to have or whatever. I mean, he says it very defiantly.
Yeah, he's just antagonistic in his
right. And a normal human person, I don't think would say that to a super powered being.
Well, unless you were a dickhead and ready to die, but
Yeah, but to me, it was the way the actor acted in that part was different than the other episodes. Where in the other episodes, yes, he was a dick, but he was kind of like, it was like he was like this government, like military man, just trying to do whatever he was tasked to do. But in that moment, he definitely seemed like he was evil or some other kind of being. So I agree that I think he's somebody else. I don't know who, but
I definitely got the impression he was egging her on, trying to antagonize her to use her powers to do something.
For sure.
I think he tried pushing her in the direction she went. And of course, right after that, she ends up going to Westview and that happens. So maybe to some degree, that's what the response he was trying to elicit.
My whole thing though is the line of, I can't release him to somebody who has the power to bring him back. And I'm just like,
or alive, and then he says online.
Well, the other way around. Bring him back online. Forgive me, alive.
Yeah.
So the fact that he said that, I'm like, we've never had that piece of information before, to my recollection.
Point in
of the
time,
movie.
yeah.
So
well, even in the show, because this is all prior to Westview.
Yes.
So like you could argue that after Westview and the events there and seeing like the twins, it could be argued that he could postulate that she can create life, but this is all prior to Westview, so there's no indication of that in anything we've seen in any of the movies or show.
Frank, I want to get your take for sure.
I truly believe, and because they haven't shown this yet, his relationship with Monica, Monica's mom, them creating Sword. I'm a firm believer in those last 5 years after the snap, that Sword really took off on advanced technology and advanced insights on what Wanda was capable of, and not just Wanda, but studying Vision's body and what he's capable of. I really think they are ahead of the curve, like more ahead than S.H.I.E.L.D., more ahead than any government entity on Earth. I really believe they have insight on what Wanda was capable of before even Wanda even came back.
Okay.
And
That's another,
and it might come up in this episode coming up, but we don't know a lot about Hayward.
Right.
Well, and there's another possibility. I mean, I'm really going out on a limb here, but we're already kind of running out on a limb a little bit. What if he's a Skrull?
That's what I was going to say. A Kree or a Skrull, one of those. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
That's quite possible. And Nathan, I'm not sure if you know about Sword. I know there was a lady, green hair lady in Sword. She was part alien as well. I don't know. Wasn't it Ava? It was. Can't remember her name, but
Let's just call her Ava.
Yeah, but she was the leader of Sword, and we find out later on that she had mind control abilities and she was part alien as well. I'm thinking Hayward is not of this earth, and I'm thinking Hayward was able to infiltrate information from Monica's mother over the last 5 years in creating Sword, and I think that's gonna come out in this episode coming up because they haven't shown his origin story either. All that we know is that he became acting director when Monica's mom passed away. So
right.
Yeah.
Like I said, just the little things here and there, and I started thinking about back to other episodes with, he has a mission to, really make Wanda the Vision and this Wanda the villain, in this whole thing, and Monica and Wu and Darcy weren't biting, and it's like, okay, well, I'm just going to cast you out because I can't manipulate you to believe it. So, like I said, it's a hill I'm willing to die on. I know I'm for sure certain he's not who he really portrays to be. But yeah, he was just way too cool about this whole thing, and ultimately he lied. He lied about saying Wanda took Vision's body when she did it, and I'm going to put a pin in that too because there's something towards the end that I want to talk about in regard to Hayward and Vision.
her name was Abigail Brand. That was her name.
Okay.
She was the acting leader of Sword, and she was half mutant, half alien hybrid. So
yeah, I do want to ask when Wanda finally went down to Vision's level, right? The dismantled Vision, and goes to his head, and she's casting her powers on top of his head, and she says, "I can't feel you." Did anyone else just kind of like got them in the feelings, or was it just me? Because that's like the last thing Vision had said to her.
Said, "I feel you.
I only feel you," and I'm like,
Yeah.
Ah! Yeah, that got me in the feels, like real bad.
Yeah.
Really, really bad. Very sweet moment a way for her to say goodbye to him, right? And I don't know if y'all noticed this, but the shape that the dismantled Vision was in the shape of a hexagon. I don't know if y'all caught that.
I did not notice.
Which has been a recurring theme all throughout the show.
Wow. Yep. Nice. So, okay, Brett.
Good job.
Which I was watching something and they noted that the hexagon shape, obviously we saw that under his skin, like when they're dismantling, there was that hexagon shape, but also the library in Doctor Strange with the forbidden books and all that, all the books were housed in hexagonal shapes.
Yes. There is significance behind all this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that would tie it all up, or
Yes,
at least tie up some of it. Yeah. So after this part, Wanda, she leaves the facility. She's distraught. She did not get Vision's body after all, like you said earlier. She has a deed for a home that her and Vision will, they plan to build this home. But see, here's the question I have. She enters Westview, which is a real place, but we're told in previous episodes that it's not a real place.
Mind control.
What happened? I believe it existed, but then when she took it over,
it didn't exist.
Wiped it from the minds of people.
Okay.
But why it didn't wipe from the mind of Wu, I don't know. And that
Why
I think we talked about that before.
Because Wu got there after the fact. I think when Wanda created the hex, everybody in that vicinity, their mind was completely wiped out of any memory of Westview.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Also, why is she driving a Buick?
Because they paid for the placement.
And honestly,
or didn't want to shell out.
I saw a lot of people commenting about that. And I think what it was is like, if you look at Wanda, her whole life, she just wanted to fit in. And so that's why she wasn't flying like a witch or didn't have some sports car. She was just trying to fit in with, with the world. And
But it was a red car.
It
it was a scarlet car, scarlet colored. Yeah. No, it definitely was. But she enters Westview in the car. She's driving through, and you see Westview is pretty dilapidated. It's not in the best of shape. She drives by the pool area. The pool looks disgusting. And
Still.
yeah, it definitely. I mean, with the temperatures we're having now, it's like 65 outside. You definitely would jump in.
Oh yeah.
Your heart would not stop for sure. Definitely do it. Okay.
But we do see, Westview residents in their original state, if you will.
Exactly.
So we see like her, we see Mrs. Hart, we see the dude with the mustache that I can't think of his name.
Piano lesson guy or piano guy.
Yeah.
Piano man.
Piano man. Not to be confused with either Elton John or Billy Joel. But we do not see Mr. Hart, Norm, or Dottie. I don't know if that's done by design or whatnot.
My thought on that is, they show Miss Hart or Mrs. Hart, and she's sitting by herself, and she looks kind of sad. I think all the people, like we talked about before, all the people who were in the hex were people who lost somebody. You know what I mean? I think that all those people lost someone, and like maybe Dottie is not she's a reanimated person or something. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But it did seem like with her, especially with Mrs. Hart, when they showed her, it was very noticeable that she was sitting by herself at this like outdoor little cafe thing. Mm-hmm. And then we also see the delivery guy. Go ahead, Nathan.
No, I was just saying that is kind of notable. I wouldn't say like necessarily everybody, but I think almost like she created these pairings when she took over.
Right.
Because you're right. It was all about this, a loss is what she suffered all her life. And she wanted there to be love and that lack of loss and everyone to have someone. And again, I got to put a pin in it till the end, including Agatha's husband, Frank, which we'll get to.
Okay. So Wanda, she gets to the site of where their home is going to be built, and she just breaks down. And as she's breaking down, she screams out and she creates the hex. And that was a pretty cool scene to see that happen and to see her power. And it definitely, I mean, I know that maybe she's not a mutant in the MCU, but that was definitely a mutant type thing. I feel like that's something we've seen Magneto do in some of those movies where it's similar, like just this like power comes from their body. And
I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pose it to all, but do you think that her power seems to really get to its max when she's in grief?
It seems like it.
I'm gonna pick on George because think of Ultron, Age of Ultron. When after Pietro dies, what happens with her after Pietro dies? Right?
She gets stronger. Yeah. No, you're right, Britt. I think grief definitely has something to play with it. But now she's reached like fucking this insane level, and she finally just loses it, and we see what happens. So she broke another level. If maybe that's not her max. Maybe she still can go even further. We have no idea yet.
That's very true. And I mean, the very fact that from Age of Ultron, I mean, she projects her power and destroys everything around her. But this is the opposite. She's creating, she's creating this world, this life that she was going to have with Vision that she never will get. It's very sad, obviously.
Creating, as Agatha put it, breakfast for dinner.
Which my parents do all the time.
It's delicious. I love breakfast for dinner.
Yep.
No, so in the transformation from present Westview to TV 1950s Westview, you go from color to black and white. I don't know if y'all caught this, but the movie theater marquee. The titles on that were Big Red and Kidnapped, which I thought was hilarious. I'm like, oh my God, that's insane. It's like it's unintentional kidnapping, I guess, at this point.
By the Scarlet Witch.
By the Scarlet Witch,
Big
Red. Yeah. But the fact that that was like a little nugget there. It was kind of cool. Frank, I want to ask you a real quick question.
Mhm.
Call back to the episode where Vision first releases Norm from his Westview state of mind, right? We see the actual real Norm. He says, he's going on about his where's his cell phone, he needs to call his sister, his dad's sick, but he says to Vision, she's in my head. So we initially presume it's Wanda, but at this point, do you think maybe he could have been referring to Agatha, because the fact that fake Pietro, was, not a real thing? Agatha was using him as, eyes and ears, whatever. Could that have been the same for Norm and everyone else in Westview at this point?
It's quite possible. I mean, we still don't know the extent of Agatha's powers.
Mhm.
We don't know the extent of Scarlet Witch's powers either, but we know telepathy and telekinetic abilities is quite possible. So the show doesn't lead you to believe that it's Wanda doing the mind control, but it could very well be Agatha. I mean, she's what, 200 years old, so she probably has abilities at the wazoo, and with all the spells and studies and witchcraft that she has, it's very much quite possible that she's the one toiling with the minds of these individuals with inside the hex, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So was Agatha there before? Like, how did she get into the hex? Was she there in that town?
I
That's
think
what-
so.
She said
Presumably.
she was drawn by
To
the
it?
power.
Oh, okay.
That's true. Which is
Okay.
interesting because, you'd think if she was drawn, then once again, another cause for potential Doctor Strange, then he would feel similar pull.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she said that she felt the magnitude of the magic, and she didn't know whether to make heads or tails of it, and that's obviously the reason why she wants to know how Wanda got her power and how she was able to make the hex, et cetera, et cetera. But Agatha, in this whole thing, once we see more or less the final kind of backstory of Wanda as she created the hex, she's projecting a vision, out of herself, right? You see the kind of gold type mind stone color coming out of her. She's projecting the hex power, but she's also projecting a vision out of her, and then thus beginning the whole kind of sitcom look. But then you see it's on a soundstage, right? It's there's lights, there's like an audience and the set, and Agatha there is like, bravo kind of situation. Then you hear the kids, right? You hear the kids yelling out for their mom. Wanda runs out of the studio back into the Westview, and Agatha has the kids,
Let me interject real quick.
Sure.
Before we go any further. So we see that Hayward pretty much manipulated the minds of everybody within that base, making it seem like that Vision's body was taken from Wanda, from the facility, right, by Wanda.
Yes.
So my question is, we now know that version of Vision is all created from Wanda's PTSD, right?
Okay.
So the plot, the possible plot issue could have, or they could explain it in the finale. How is Hayward locating Vision within the hex if that's not the Vision that was taken out of the lab?
Frank, I fucking love you. You and I are of one mind.
Because that was the first question I had when I saw that. I'm like, oh shit, that Vision was not from the lab.
Exactly. So the question is, yes, how and why is Hayward tracking the Vision that's within the hex when he already has Vision's body?
Yeah.
It makes me wonder.
Exactly.
So is that a plot hole, or is that going to be explained in the finale?
Well, they call it as following the vibranium depletion, and that's how they tracked it. But unless she created him truly out of vibranium,
I think
which maybe she did.
I think it's out of the Mind Stone, because think about it. Yeah. She was created out of the Mind Stone, or rather elevated because of the Mind Stone. Yes. So that's kind of all I have to go off of right now. But like the fact that it seems, yes, she is able to create life, right? She is able to bring him back online, but it explains obviously why there was no recollection about life before the hex and what have you, obviously. So the fact that, yes, how the hell is Hayward tracking Vision in the hex when there's no material or anything to provide any kind of tracking whatsoever? Again, I am convinced Hayward is somebody that he's somebody else. You know, he's got powers to be able to track all this shit. Like,
That's a good point. I didn't think about that. He could very well be something that's not human.
exactly. Exactly.
He could be a telepathic as well.
Maybe. That's what I'm saying. I don't know a whole lot about Mephisto. I just know that we first saw that his introduction in Ghost Rider, because that's how what's his name was able to get his powers. He sold his soul to the devil to, you know, be Ghost Rider. But like, I don't know enough about Mephisto to like really speak on that. Like I said, I'm just convinced that Tyler Hayward is not who he is.
So while we're on the subject of Mephisto, so we talked earlier about, actually, let's go back in time to way back when she was on the steak or the hamburgers, as Justin may refer
In
to
a
it.
galaxy
Yes.
far, far away.
The power that came to her aid there did not seem to be under her control. As she was on the stake and then suddenly it went purple, she didn't seem to be in control of that.
By the way, that was some Harry Potter shit right there.
Yeah.
Just saying.
So I believe now another thing to point out, if you're familiar with stories of witches of yore, in fact there was a movie came out a couple years ago called Witch, that kind of delved into this, which was the idea that ultimately a witch would become the betrothed of the devil. So I've been wondering about Frank, but more Agatha's husband. But now the thing I
Not
found
our
really
Frank.
interesting.
Oh, I'm like, what did I do?
Yeah, not you, Frank. Is what's her bunny's name?
Senor Scratchy?
Mr. Scratchy. Mr. Scratch is a nickname for the devil.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I thought about that too.
remember when she's down there and she first has Wanda kind of trapped and she's petting
Yes.
Senor Scratchy. She then does a spell, an animus spell that transforms
A bug.
the bug, right? There was a limitation to her power, as in her ability to create or transform. What I think is Mephisto was depleted in power or something in protecting her when she was facing off against the Scarlet Witch, aka her mom, at the stake. And she wants the power to bring life back or to restore that, to bring him back to that full power. So when she got excited when she was holding the dead dog and she found out about Wanda's ability, that power to restore life. And the other thing, and this I didn't know beforehand, was actually in the comics, Wanda's twins, her kids, were the left and right hand puppets of Mephisto. And in the very last scene, we see them on strings being choked like puppets by Agatha.
Yep.
Yeah, because I want to say the twins, Nathan, one of you, like in the comic book, she used shards of Mephisto's own soul to give birth to them.
They're of magic.
Yeah.
They're for sure created of magic.
Yeah.
Yes. For sure.
So that's why I was like, after this, I was like, yeah, I don't see at this point any way they're not going to bring Mephisto into this.
I agree.
And which also begs the question is he also going to make some kind of appearance in the Doctor Strange movie?
I think he will.
I think so at this point. Yeah. So on topic with Scarlet Witch, because that's like the big, reveal of the whole show, if you will, is Agatha saying, you're supposed to be a myth, a being capable of spontaneous creation. Now, does that mean about Wanda herself, or is that speaking to her powers? Again, spontaneous creation. What does that specifically mean? Because if there have been different levels of Scarlet Witches, let's say maybe Agatha's mother had some kind of level as a Scarlet Witch, and that hasn't been seen since, obviously it totally relates to the whole myth, if you will, but what's everyone's interpretation of a being capable of spontaneous creation?
Playing God.
Oh,
Much. I think Agatha is afraid of the natural order of things, the tipping scale being tipped because of Scarlet Witch's ability. I think all villains, I think complex villains love power, but not to a point where it threatens their own existence. And I think she is really threatened by her existence, but also the universe because of this woman's power that she's never seen before. And let's make things clear. Agatha is 200 plus years old. For her to be pretty much frightened of Scarlet Witch shows me that she ain't never seen shit like this before in her life.
Right, because another piece of this whole conversation that Agatha says is, your children, Vision, this world that you've created, this is chaos magic, chaos with a capital C. So that's a proper name. That's referring to someone that's also in these comic series, chaos magic. And I'm again, I don't know a whole lot about, I think his name is Dr. Chaos. I'm not sure if that's of the same thing, but I'm pretty sure.
Don't confuse it with Mr. Chaos. I didn't go to school for 10 years to be called Mr. Chaos.
Neither did Dr. Pepper. Anyway.
Titles matter.
What's that?
Titles matter.
Titles matter.
What was Butter's name from South Park? Didn't he have a chaos name? Was it Professor Chaos or some shit like that? What was it?
No idea. I never watched South Park.
None of y'all seen South Park?
Sorry.
No.
What's that?
Oh my god.
No, I did, but that was like more than 20 years ago. I'll be honest. It was funny.
Yeah, it's
Probably
Professor
still is.
Professor Chaos.
Professor Chaos.
Professor. So not quite as long. In
You
school,
can't see it.
but
Yeah. But yeah, so, now with that piece of information, Scarlet Witch is supposed to be a myth, chaos magic. I mean, we're delving into some real time shit here that I just can't wait for this season finale and how everything's going to wrap up and what we're going to ultimately see happen, with.
yeah, I didn't necessarily think that the MCU and Disney would go there, like where it seems to be going now. Like I gotta admit, I'm a little surprised.
It's dark.
Well, what's so crazy is that I remember in the comic books and even in my high school years, Billy and Tommy are remnants of Mephisto's soul.
Mhm.
Agatha, and then they were erased from reality, and Scarlet Witch was so distraught that Agatha used this is in comic books. Agatha used a spell to wipe out Scarlet Witch's memory of her children.
Yep.
And then when something happened, she was reminded of it and killed Agatha on accident. Therefore, starting the House of M series.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it started. So, will we get a version of House of M and Marvel?
Mm-hmm.
Like Disney?
That's yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. If so, how would you introduce that with no mutants? With no mutants in this world?
What I think, which is kind of weird, is I'm wondering if they're gonna backwards engineer House of M to bring the mutants in. As opposed to turn it down to the 99, but actually bring them in. That's I don't know, because I was thinking about that too, because it ties into the House of M, this storyline.
Let me ask you this. Do you think the mutants are already there, but the power because of Scarlet Witch? Do you think
That's a good question, because what if they took the approach that, like Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, they have the ability, but it's currently latent, and like the Mind Stone opened that up, maybe she in similar way opens up the Nexus, a portal or connection to the Mind Stone, and then awakens the latent powers of the mutants in this universe.
So kind of like an Inhumans deal where like the crystals pretty much like spark the dormant cells in your body.
Yeah.
Shit.
So
Interesting.
that could be one way they bring him in, but if they do, then I don't see the pre-existing characters from the Fox franchise working.
Mm.
But the alternative here is also we do have the multiverse option bringing in that maybe, you know, they come in from a different universe.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a couple of different ways they could go about this.
Justin, you look like you have something to say.
No, I'm just gonna talk about the post-credit scene in the episode,
Mm.
because in that scene we see that Hayward has they've reanimated a Vision, and it's a solid white Vision.
Mm-hmm.
The soulless one.
Yeah, and so looks like we're getting Vision versus Vision.
Yeah.
Double Vision.
In the season finale, or this series finale or season finale. Yeah.
And it took the power source of Wanda in order to recreate him. So that's going to be a thing.
So have they announced what the final episode's called? Is it called Double Vision?
Called astigmatism.
It might be.
Stigmatism.
No, but you know, like the Vision versus Vision thing. So I think that's the reason why a few months back, Paul Bettany said that he made a comment that they had a big surprise planned for the show, that he was going to work with an actor that he has very much respect for, that he's never worked with before. And
I am not in this episode.
Right, I know. I mean, another actor he has a lot of respect for.
Oh, okay.
And he
He's
said that
like they got on well, fireworks.
Yeah, he said we had great chemistry on the set, and there were fireworks on the set. So I think what that means was he's saying he's going to face himself, and it was just a joke all along.
Yeah.
So we know about Captain America's ass being America's ass when he faced off with himself in Endgame. I mean, are we going to get something out of that with Vision versus Vision? Like, just curious. I mean, the ass has been claimed for, so. I'm dumb, I know. Leave me alone.
I think that this is a way that we will have a Vision going forward, regardless of it, if it's Wanda's Vision or if it's this evil Vision, which that might be kind of a cool thing. I don't know. It looks like the character is going forward, but let's get the predictions.
Another bizarre thought.
Go for it.
What if they face off? Because we know the one exists outside of Wanda's world that she created, at least in body, but it doesn't have the soul of, presumably. I mean, if we're based off the comics, what if she finds a way using the powers of a Mind Stone to essentially transfer the mind of the one in her world into?
Yep.
That could happen.
I
Maybe?
thought the same thing. I thought the exact same thing. If there was a possibility, and it's a stretch, you know, if Shuri was able to even clone or recreate the Mind Stone during Infinity War, could Wanda then recreate Vision from that moment? And he would have no any memory or any knowledge of what happened post, you know, that events. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
could she get that happy ending? Could she have that life in Westview? I mean, George, what do you think? You've been pretty quiet.
No, I think that's possible too. That she could hopefully maybe, if Shuri and they were able to do that in Wakanda, I don't see why she can't do it with all her crazy powers, and especially since she's still learning what she can do, and it's just gonna. I feel like it's gonna keep growing and growing, this power that she has, and she's gonna be able to do so much stuff. And we won't know until we actually see what she does. So I'm excited. It's gonna be a crazy. I wish there was 2 episodes left, but it has to wrap up this Friday. So
Yeah.
Question. No, so this originally was supposed to happen after Falcon and Winter Soldier, right? Like in order of release.
Yeah, I don't
So I'm
think the
guessing we're not
order.
going to see a tie-in, right?
No, I don't think there should be a tie-in because originally Black Widow was supposed to be first, then Falcon Winter Soldier. I don't think it was even clear when WandaVision was going to happen.
I thought WandaVision was in the fall or winter.
Yeah, I think this is all going to be kind of like independent of each other. I don't think they're going to
Yeah, I
have a
think-
direct connection within each other unless
I don't know that
No.
I'm willing to say that though, because I mean it's the MCU.
Well, I think what'll happen is it won't have a connection to Falcon and Winter Soldier. I don't believe that at all. But it will have a connection to other properties. Whereas, like, I don't think that the finale is going to wrap up really anything. I think that's just going to lead into either Doctor Strange
or
or
Spider-Man.
stuff that'll be in Spider-Man because
Yeah.
Justin,
you know,
you usually follow a lot of this. Have they talked about a season 2 of WandaVision? Is that
there's no season 2 planned. Yeah, it's just
this will be a standalone kind of season?
yeah, and I think
in theory.
the reason for that is because, like, you know, the WandaVision concept is all based around this hex and the storyline. So if there were a season 2, it wouldn't be necessarily called WandaVision. It might be, you know, the Adventures of Wanda and Vision, or, you know, something else. But WandaVision is
Scarlet
solely
Vision, Seen Blood.
yeah. The
Not
show
through-
is
Not through rose-colored glasses.
right. The show this season is solely about it's not a self-contained story, but in some ways it kind of is. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So
Yeah, just like how the phase 1 through 3 solo films were solo films, but they ultimately like came together in Avengers, you know? So
Right,
it
right.
might be
Yeah.
something along.
this is their solo film, but it just spread out into a TV
Yeah.
series.
Exactly. So what are everyone's predictions for this season finale of WandaVision? Frank.
Strange shows up. Manifesto's behind all of this. And I think in order to bring back Vision, I think Shuri is brought to the fold as well.
Okay.
In some form
Okay.
or fashion. Because that was too Marvel doesn't just throw out, this is not DC, they don't just throw shit out for the sake of throwing shit out. I really feel like that scene in not Endgame, in Infinity War, them in Wakanda, of Shuri working with Vision, I really think that was in some form of fashion, that's important from here going out.
Okay. Nathan.
Well, a couple things I've already said. I'm kind of thinking that in some way the Vision and the White Vision are gonna face off in some way, and eventually somehow I think the soul, heart, mind, whatever the one will transfer into the White Vision to recreate the Vision in real life. I definitely think we're gonna see Mephisto. And I'm kind of on the fence. I think there's still a chance we'll see Doctor Strange, but I do like what you were saying, Justin, about the possibility about how Paul Bettany was talking about the chemistry of the actor he'll be working with. Could have been a joke about his fight with himself. So, you know, I don't know, but I still think there's the possibility of Doctor Strange showing up. But we'll see. Those are my thoughts.
Okay. George.
I think we'll definitely see Mephisto, some type of tie-in. Cool battle between Agatha and Wanda is going to be incredible, I'm sure.
Mhm.
Well, I think we're going to see what Hayward is, or whatever the hell he's planning, even if that's an end credit scene or something like that. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe Strange shows up. I don't right now. I don't see like how he would, or like, unless he's drawn to the power of all the power that Wanda's creating. But other than that, those are my predictions for now.
Okay. Justin.
Yeah, the only thing I feel confident in predicting is that the hex will come down. You know,
Okay.
everyone who's in the hex will be
Bold.
released. Right.
Bold.
Right. Outside of that, I don't know. I do think that this story will continue in some form or fashion
Mhm.
in the Doctor Strange movie for sure.
Okay.
Maybe in Spider-Man, but that's it. Brittany, what about you?
I have one more prediction after Brittany's.
Oh
Okay.
no, go ahead.
All right. I also think that the dog is going to come back to life, or else John Wick is going to be making an appearance.
Bring Bring back Sparky. Frank, you wanted to interject real quick.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't see how Strange is not in this finale.
I
If
agree.
lesser witches like Agatha are being drawn by this power, how the fuck the most powerful sorcerer in the universe not being drawn to this shit?
Sorcerer, not so supreme now. What were you doing? Stuck in a book, huh? It's not like you
Ooh.
didn't have time to try and go back and do it, you know, because you missed it.
Like
Permanent
like-
DVR action going on.
A perfect example. I'll say this, and I'll let you have the floor. When Loki came back to Earth in Thor Ragnarok, that motherfucker knew exactly when he got there. Like this.
Your
motherfucker-
savior is here.
It's like, why is he here? You are a criminal of Earth. Go back to where you came from. If Loki set off his sorcery sensors, how the fuck does Hex is not so going?
Yes,
set off
true.
his sorcery
That's
sensors?
true.
exactly.
I didn't think of that. That's very true.
Exactly. So my predictions, many of you have already said it. Obviously it's Vision versus Vision. I would like to see Vision come back like as Wanda's Vision, you know, in some kind of fashion, right? They have a happily ever after, if you will. I'd love to see that. I think the twins will not exist after this is all said and done, just because the fact that they are a product of magic. I don't think that they're going to exist beyond the hex, because I know in the comics they're constantly like disappearing kind of thing. One of
That
the
kind of
things
breaks the Disney norm, though, if they kill the kids and not the mom. I'm just saying.
I mean, these are dark times, Nathan, very dark times. But the other thing I wanted to suggest, and this would also be a tie-in into the new Doctor Strange sequel, there's no Sorcerer Supreme right now, correct? What if Wanda becomes a Sorcerer Supreme?
I thought Strange is Sorcerer Supreme now.
Yeah.
He didn't.
Didn't
He didn't lose that ability. He's just not got the time stone, or he's not wearing it.
Yeah, he's still Supreme.
But
Yeah.
is he?
Yeah.
Did
We're
they-
talking all the toppings here.
Did
Sour
they
cream.
definitively say that in Doctor
Well,
Strange? Because I
well,
recently rewatched it and there was no title whatsoever. Titles are important. We learned in this fucking world right now. Titles are important. There's no title whatsoever that Doctor Strange is Sorcerer Supreme.
But didn't she handpick him to be her successor?
No,
Yeah.
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 I don't think so.
Yeah.
Or the mind stone or the time stone.
control,
one or the
yeah.
other.
Yeah, to wield the time stone, but that doesn't make him Sorcerer Supreme.
That does.
Does it?
Yeah,
Brett,
as far as I
you-
know, basically he who wields the time stone is the
Oh, he's
Sorcerer
the
Supreme because it's
Supreme.
their job to protect it.
Yeah.
But she wasn't wielding the time. The Sorcerer Supreme wasn't wielding the time stone.
Well, she was the only one basically permitted to, but it was sitting in that thing all the time. She
Right.
didn't.
She just didn't have to carry it.
Yeah, but she was the main.
Okay, well, I'm gonna do some research. We'll come back. We'll talk about this next episode. But I'm just gonna throw that out there. Maybe Wanda eventually will become Sorcerer Supreme. Just saying.
And I think the time stone specifically selects its user essentially. But I mean that was in the comics, not so much necessarily in the MCU.
Okay.
So I don't know. It could be different in the
Well-
MCU. There's clearly been a lot of changes.
But how would that work anyways now? There's no time stone.
Yeah, which is a very big question mark there. But I think the multiverse may fix that. Oh,
Wait, hold on. There's no time stone in this.
this
Yes, this
Yeah.
reality.
this timeline, this
This
timeline specifically.
Yeah.
Wait, so if you destroy the Infinity Stones in one reality, they could still exist in another one?
Yeah, because they're
Well, yeah,
they're-
because Captain
seems
America
the
went back
multiverse.
and placed them.
yeah, that's how they did it in the movie in Endgame.
That's oh my god, that's fucking stupid, dude. Like if you have something as powerful, I don't know. I guess as powerful.
They're
as the
alternate
Infinity Stones, dude.
realities.
Yeah, I guess.
To a degree, essentially the concept when you travel through time, you're entering an alternate reality potentially. That once you make a change there, it creates an offshoot timeline.
See, George, the multiverse thing is brilliant because that ensures this stuff never ends.
Yeah.
You can always keep it going, and that's
It goes on and on, my friend.
Really.
right.
They
And then
started singing
Start
it.
saying it, not knowing what it was.
they're literally having a Loki TV show, but Loki from a different reality.
Your reality.
Yeah, it's the Loki from Endgame, the one that
Yeah.
escaped.
The one that
Yeah.
escaped.
Yes.
Which
With
stone
the-
did he have?
He had the blue one. What, the power?
He had the Tesseract.
Yeah.
Space Stone. The Space Stone.
Space Stone.
Yeah, space. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Well, that wraps up our talk about WandaVision for this week. We'll be back next week to talk about the season finale. Looking forward to it. I think we all are.
Mhm.
But now it's time to get into other news. So
Not the Snyder cut. I don't want to talk about it.
there's no Snyder Cut news this week. I mean, there was some stuff, but nothing major. So let's stick with the MCU.
Okay.
We learned last week, I think right after our show was released, that Spider-Man 3 now has a title. It's called Spider-Man No Way Home. What do y'all think about the title?
Great.
I love it.
Fitting. It's very fitting. I think just because
Nathan?
of the fact that the
You can
multiverse-
never go home.
Yeah.
Never go home again. Yeah.
Never go home.
So I think the title is very telling. I think what's going to happen, I think Spider-Man gets lost in the multiverse. He gets lost with the other Spider-Man, or he gets lost in the multiverse and the other Spider-Man, meaning Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, are brought to his timeline or his Earth or
Don't
whatever.
forget about Peter Porker.
Peter Porker, probably heavily involved.
Spider Pig.
Yeah.
Spider Pig does whatever a Spider Pig does. Sorry.
Yep, that's it. So that's what I think happens in Spider-Man 3. So and we will find out sooner than later. Christmas is not. How far is it away? What, 7, 8, 9 months? So it'll be here before we know it.
Will Jake Gyllenhaal come back in that movie, do you think? Mysterio?
As,
I think so.
Mysterio.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he'll
Yeah.
come back. I don't think he's dead. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure.
I don't know. But I mean, the title makes sense on a lot of levels for Spider-Man because as we saw at the end of Far From Home, the post-credit scene, Mysterio reveals that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. to
Spoiler.
everyone. So yeah, spoiler. So anyway, looking
They
forward to
missed
that.
the year 2019.
Yeah.
That happened.
There we go.
Yeah.
So from one legendary comic character to another, I'm gonna ask: did anybody watch the premiere of Superman and Lois last week?
I did not, but
Sorry.
I'm
Okay.
gonna watch it this week though. I'm gonna because I saw a lot of good reviews regarding it.
Yeah, the show got such good reviews that it's already been renewed for season 2. They've only had one episode.
Yeah,
Wow.
people love it.
I do think that everyone, I'm not saying everybody Superman's for every person, but I think everyone should watch the first 3 or 4 minutes of the show, and it's on the CW app for free. You can watch it for free. The show airs Tuesday nights, I believe, at 8 p.m. Last week was kind of a special deal. I think it was like a 2-hour special, but it's just going to be like a 1-hour show every week. But it streams for free the next day on the CW app and until for the rest of the season. I think it's going to end up being on HBO Max once the season ends. So if you want to wait for that, go for that. But I think everyone should check out the first 4 minutes of the show because they do this really great montage that shows how basically Superman's entire origin story in 3 or 4 minutes, and it's so well done. It really feels like Superman, whereas I never felt like Man of Steel, never felt like Superman to me. I never felt like the Justice League, the Zack Snyder version of Superman just didn't work for me. And this Superman does. It feels like Superman. He has 2 teenage sons in this story, which is a little bit unique. We learn in the episode that one of the kids has powers, the other kid doesn't. That's kind of a big part of the plot.
But he's got incredible reporting skills.
Right. He's an incredible journalist.
Named after mom.
Right. And, journalism is very important. But no, the other main thing about this show is we have what appears to be a black Lex Luthor. And the reason why I say appears to be because we don't know for sure if the character's name is Lex Luthor. We know his name is Luthor of some sort. He's a Luthor from another world a world apparently that was destroyed by Superman, and so this Luthor is, and he has like an Iron Man kind of suit on, and he's fighting Superman in the episode. He looks like a character from Halo. If you've ever seen Halo, the video game, he looks very much like, I guess, Master Chief is the name of that character.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Anyway, the character is referred to as Captain Luthor, so I assume that's Lex Luthor.
Such a terrible attempt.
What do you mean?
I don't know. I think it's just kind of a cop out. I mean, you've got Captain America, so you're gonna call him Captain Luthor? Like, that's just
totally different. Yeah,
I know, but I'm just saying, like, it's just
no, but it's not meant to be like that. He returns to his spaceship, and that's what the spaceship calls him. Like, he's the captain of the ship. It's not. I don't think.
And what's interesting, if you note the make of the spaceship, it's made by Lexus,
which is actually made by Toyota. So, just letting you know that.
God,
dropping the knowledge. No, but it's a good show, and
there's three of us that have Toyotas.
Yeah. So, it's on the CW, but it looks better than the other CW shows. Now I've only seen the pilot so far, and they do put a lot of money into the pilot and a lot of time into it. But it has more of a cinematic look than the CW shows. So Frank, what were you going to say?
No, I was going to say I appreciate having like a different take on Superman. I get tired of seeing the same goddamn story told over and over again across 15 or 30 fucking years. Like, it's great to see something different. Because I mean, this incarnation has kids, and I guess he's older. Him and Lois are married. Like, this is. I want to see this. I want to see this play out. And this is the same Superman, the same actor who's in the Supergirl series, right?
Yeah, the actor's name is Tyler Hoechlin. I wasn't very familiar with him before he was on Supergirl as Superman. I think he was on the Teen Wolf show that was on MTV, which I never watched. He's a former college baseball player. So
Teen Wolf was actually a pretty good show.
Okay. So, but he definitely like in Supergirl, he didn't look like Superman as much. His costume wasn't the best, but they definitely upped the costume for this series. There's actually a really cool part at the very beginning where it's, like I said, it's this montage. It's doing the origin story, and it shows him in the very first Superman costume, the famous one that's on Action Comics #1, where he catches the car. They kind of reenact that scene, but in present day. It's a really cool scene. Like I said, even if you don't like Superman, just watch the first 3 or 4 minutes of the show. It's a perfect like catch up to like, hey, here's the character and here's him today, and he's living in Metropolis, and he loses his job,
which is across the way from Gotham City.
Wait, no. Superman loses his job? I guess
Clark Kent,
quite so super now, is he?
Right. Clark Kent is laid off.
It was beat out by Excelsior Man.
Right.
That's funny.
I don't know. It's a good show. I like Superman. I was a huge Smallville fan, and this is like, it's kind of like a return to that for me. And so I enjoy it. There are parts of it that I think some people might construe as cheesy, but I think it's more wholesome, that's what the Superman character is. He's not a dark character. He's not a vigilante. He doesn't kill people. He's not Batman. He's not Deadpool. He's not, he's Superman. So if you like Superman, I think you'll like the show. It's 15 episodes the first season, so we'll see how. I think in the future it'll be like 22. But yeah, I don't. It's very good to start out with. We'll see if it can keep it going. That weekly schedule is tough for those shows to keep the momentum that the streaming shows have.
And you're saying something about a darker kind of Superman, Justin. There's a new Superman movie that's going to be coming out, correct?
Yeah. I was about to transition to that. Frank actually kind of broke that news to us last week that J.J. Abrams is producing a Superman movie, and
so worried about this.
J.J. Abrams, I hope he's not directing the movie. I hope it's just his production company, because he produced and directed The Rise of Skywalker, which is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. What's that?
Wasn't it amazing?
No,
Amazingly
thought-
bad.
I thought
No.
you loved that movie, Justin. You always
No.
talk about how great
No.
Star Wars is.
I'll say this. I make fun of the Justice League and Snyder Cut a lot. The Snyder Cut will be better than that movie. I mean, it'll be better than there is. In fact, I'll say it. There is no way in hell the Snyder Cut isn't better than the Rise of Skywalker. I'll bet all the money in the world. That movie is so terrible. So I really hope that the producer of this movie is not the main part of it, and the fact that Ta-Nehisi Coates, who some of y'all might be familiar with, he's written some very legendary Black Panther storylines and Captain
Fuck
America
yeah, bro.
storylines. What's that?
No, I said, fuck yeah, he has.
Yeah. And so with the news that he's been tasked to write the script, there's a lot of talk that we might be getting a Black Superman, because Ta-Nehisi Coates is a Black man himself. Not saying that he couldn't write about white characters, because obviously he wrote about Captain America very well, but there's a lot of talk that we're going to get a Black Superman, and there's a lot of chatter that Black Superman might be played by Michael B. Jordan.
I
Or
heard that.
Idris Elba, because he said it in Shab and Haas. Or Shab, what?
Hobbs and Shaw. He was Black Superman. There's a difference. He was a
Yeah.
superpowered.
I know.
Yeah. I mean, Idris Elba would be a great Superman. I think because he's older, they're going to find somebody younger. But
They need to make that man into James Bond. I mean, like, shit. Make that man James Bond.
yes.
Yes.
But let's talk about Superman. Frank, what do you think about the news that we might be getting we're getting a new Superman? It might be a Black Superman. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I'm all for it, man. I mean, hell, Clark Kent's been white for 70 fucking years. So I mean, I'd be cool with seeing a different Superman as far as race.
Well, the thing is, it might be a different character. It might not be Clark Kent, because in the comic books there are two Black Supermans or Supermen, and they're from different Earths, and neither one of them is named Clark Kent. One of them is named Calvin Ellis, which people believe that's the one that Michael B. Jordan would be playing. And Calvin Ellis is a Barack Obama type character, where it's in his Earth 23, he's not only Superman, but he's also the president of the United States.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
What is he?
Yes.
that's a story in the comics.
That's
There's
fantastic.
Mind blown. I did not
Yeah.
know like the
Yeah.
character.
Frank's going to jump on that stat.
Frank, I didn't know about this either. Google Calvin Ellis. It's a lot of cool stuff. Like, I think this is going to happen. This Superman is what, but there's another Superman who's also Black, whose name is Val Zod. So it's, they're both Kryptonian, obviously. This guy kept his Kryptonian name.
Wait, you said Zod?
His name
Val
is
hyphen Zod.
Val-Zod.
So is that General Zod's son?
Maybe.
I don't know as much about him, but I've read a little bit about this Calvin Ellis character, and it sounds like that's the one Michael B. Jordan wants to play. Apparently, he had discussions with Warner Brothers in 2019. Those obviously went nowhere, but to me, this is such a smart idea. I mean, given the success of Black Panther, making Superman Black would be, I mean, it's a great idea anyway, but it's just money. It's a money idea. And so, Nathan, what do you think about this? Did you know anything about this stuff, or Superman, or?
How the best way to phrase this? If you listed like all the superheroes between DC and Marvel in order of favorite to least favorite, Superman would be below my least favorite.
Oh,
So there's absolutely zero chance I'll watch it.
wow.
I'll literally watch like dogs chewing on like my shoes before I'll watch that, or paint peeling.
So
I have
How
a
do you
level of
feel,
buys
Nathan?
for Superman that goes beyond description to say on.
How do you
this
feel
channel.
about pimple popping, Nathan?
Oh yeah, I'll definitely watch that.
Okay.
Like over. Yeah. I've always despised him for one simple reason, and there's a reason I dislike a lot of the DC universe, is the characters don't have character flaws. They have weaknesses that are based on a single random thing. And that always bugged me. And it was no more evident than in Superman than any other character. Whereas in the MCU, it's not that the characters have I can't stand the color yellow, or I'm weak to this rock or mineral. It's they have character defects. And for me, that was always much more powerful. So yeah, I can't get behind Superman. I hope down the road that the DC fixes that, and I believe they're starting to understand that. But to me, that will always be the big difference between Marvel and DC. So there's not a lot of DC I'll watch. There are some. In fact, I'm watching Doom Patrol, and the beauty of that show is it's all about character defects. The characters are all just their personalities. They're defective in that way, and it's very enjoyable to watch. For that reason, I want to watch Teen Titans because I actually think maybe it's similarly written. Because I know the characters themselves, most of them aren't so much like I can't take this one thing or whatever. But Justice League was everybody in the Justice League pretty much was always that way. It's like I'm impervious to everything but X, Y, or Z. So,
right. I mean, it's like in the DC thing, they're kind of considered to be gods. Some of them are gods. Which I understand why not everyone would get with that, but I think with Superman, what's different about Superman is like he's more human than most humans are, even though he's not a human, and that's part of his weakness. You know, it's part of his strength. It's part of his weakness. When it's done well. When it's not done well, he comes off like a homeless grifter who's depressed about life, and you know, like Man of Steel was just such a terrible take on that character. He watches his dad die in a tornado, which he could easily have saved him. It's just it's just dumb the way that they took that character and just like put him in the mud and like, I don't know, like just it's so bad. But I do believe that a new take on the character is needed. And I think that this might be something that even, you know, Nathan, I know you're not a fan of the character, but a new take on the character might be what the doctor ordered, you know?
It could be. It really could be. You know, and you guys watch it, let me know. You know, if they seem to go that way, then, you know, who knows? Yeah. Maybe I'll give it a chance. But I mean, I've been burned by DC a lot of times.
Yeah.
A lot of times.
George, are you at all interested in any of this new Superman?
Not really.
Okay.
I'm just I don't really care about Superman. I've never really been a fan of Superman, honestly.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. Even like going back all the way back to the Christopher Reeves, you know, it's no shot at Christopher Reeves. I mean, that's obviously what, you know, made him pretty iconic, but like the fact that I don't know, I could never just get into the whole Superman storyline. It's just like you really can't tell that Clark Kent is Superman. You guys are fucking dumb. Like
go ahead.
I've heard a terrible joke. I don't know if you want. It's pretty fucking bad.
Oh well, you started it, so let's go.
Go for it. Yeah.
So
you leave the audience hanging.
I did not make this joke, dude. I heard it. I think it was like at a trivia night or something like that. Someone said, they said, it's pretty bad. What's the opposite of Christopher Reeves?
I don't know. Frank's already dying over there.
I mean, he is deceased, by the way.
Yeah.
I know.
Okay, what's up?
Christopher Walken.
Oh God, that's actually pretty funny.
Oh man,
it's bad.
Yeah,
it's bad.
That's pretty bad.
Let's don't end on that note.
No, let's not.
You know, like Christopher Reeve was like my hero as a kid because he was Superman, and you know, the thing about Brittany, did you bring up the whole Clark Kent glasses thing?
I did.
So if you watch those old Superman movies, and it's a tough watch. It's not something that people nowadays are going to be into, I don't think.
No, my dad loves those movies. That's why I watched. Good Lord, Frank, are you okay? My goodness, he is like just rolling and like laughing. He's crying.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, sorry. Going back to you, Justin, the old Christopher Reeve Superman.
For people who mention the whole like glasses and like how could you not tell? Okay, I understand that, but if you watch the way Christopher Reeve played how he played Clark Kent, how he played Superman, you would not think that was the same person.
Two personalities.
Yeah. Like he slumps his shoulder when he's Clark Kent. He's this kind of dorky guy that tries to fit in. But then when he's Superman, he puffs his chest out and he's
Sure.
just, you know,
Of course.
that's the, and then again,
He's
that's the
full of
problem
himself.
with,
Yeah.
no, it's different. I mean, like, that's
Okay.
the reason why I didn't work with Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill is this jacked out, like, you know, like action figure looking dude
Good looking man. Yes,
Who-
I know.
who doesn't look any different as Superman or Clark Kent, except for one of them, he wears a cape. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
he wears glasses and one, but he doesn't even change his hair. Like he didn't even
No.
change his hair. So,
Exactly.
yeah, the Christopher Walken joke was killer, George. Good job.
Yeah, you almost killed Frank with that one. Have you
yeah.
recovered now, dude? Like, are you good?
So
I
I
had
got one for you
Man, that
guys.
was good. That was fucked up, but good at the same time.
So I've got 2 messed up ones for you guys.
Oh
Okay.
my god.
Oh, please lay it on me.
The second one, my ex-wife told me
Okay.
the day after I told her this one. So here's the first one I told her.
Okay.
Why didn't Superman save the Twin Towers? Or yeah,
Oh,
Why?
wow.
or the
Lay it on me, man. We're on the roll. Come on.
because he's in a wheelchair.
Oh wow.
The follow-up was the joke my wife told me the next day. And I'll preface this with overnight, Christopher Reeves died. Why didn't Superman save the Twin Towers? Because he's dead. That's how she broke the news to me.
Damn.
Christopher Reeves
The
died.
next
Oh
day,
my god.
the next day.
That's
he
fucking
literally died.
savage.
Overnight. And I was like,
It's because he made that joke.
wow. That's what she said. You killed Superman. Henceforth, my nickname ever since has been Kryptonite.
And that's when. Never mind. Okay,
Holy shit,
Yeah.
that's funny.
that's pretty bad.
Yeah, timing is everything.
Yes,
Whether a joke's funny or not funny.
not funny.
That's pretty
Yeah.
dark.
But that Christopher Walken.
Where
one
he
was
actually
funny.
where he actually originally suffered his injury was like 5 miles from where she grew up.
Oh wow.
There's
So
like
she's the reason.
horse-
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it was an equestrian, like horseback thing
Horseback
where he fell
riding.
off the horse. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, no more talk about Christopher Reeve and his injury and his passing and why Superman couldn't save the Twin Towers.
No, but he was a great Superman. I don't
Yeah,
care what
yeah.
anybody
He
says.
really was. He really was.
He was. I mean, he embodied that character, and without those movies, we wouldn't have any of this stuff. I mean,
Absolutely.
maybe we would, but like it was definitely the only thing. I mean, the first movie was like in '78, I believe, or '77.
Yeah.
So
And
And
they kind of set the bar for
Yeah.
what a superhero movie could be.
and he inspired lots of children all over the world, including my brother, to curl little bang, on his forehead and put on a
Yes,
little towel
girl.
and jump around from couch to couch and pretend to be Superman. I mean, come on. That's just sweet.
yep.
And Justin today
Yeah.
still hasn't grown up because he's still repping his
Still
Superman.
does it. Justin, you stopped jumping off the roof with a cape though years after the last
Yeah.
accident.
I've learned my lesson. Yeah. Speaking of learning things, I'm trying to come up with a transition. Brittany, how can people follow us on social media?
Quite simple, Justin. All you have to do is search The Watchers in the Basement on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and check out our YouTube channel for our past episodes on shows like WandaVision, as well as Game of Thrones and the Marvel Cinematic Universe and many, many other topics. And if we have not reviewed something that you're interested in having us talk about, be sure to let us know by tweeting at us and using the hashtag WatchersBasement. Last but not least, be sure to tell your friends and family and whoever out on the street about our little podcast, because although we are not a large podcast, we are a proud one.
And very classy, given the last
Very
few
classy.
minutes. Yeah, we're
Very
super
classy.
classy.
Tell very classy jokes. Always a
Super
good-
classy.
Good taste,
Tremendous taste.
keep it clean.
So-
We definitely keep it. What's up, Frank?
So before we sign off, have
Yep.
you guys seen the Batman trailer, or the Robert Pattinson Batman trailer?
Oh yeah,
Which one?
Yeah,
It
the
came out a
Batman.
while ago, right?
yeah. It came out over the summer.
Yeah, I
Yep.
saw it.
I didn't even know. I saw it the other day.
Didn't we talk about it? We talked
Where
about
do
it.
you, why do you think I keep keep saying every time we're talking about Batman, like I am vengeance. Like, where do you think I got that from?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe some Arkham game. I don't know.
Oh,
I
man.
watched it for the first time last week. I'm like, okay, Twilight might have a chance. He might have a chance.
No,
Yeah, it looks good.
It
Nah.
does.
Yeah.
nah. Hard
It's
pass.
gonna be a self-contained universe though.
It's gonna be a
So,
hard pass.
It worked. It worked for the Joker, so let's hope
Yeah.
it works for this.
Yeah. Yeah, well, this is gonna be like a trilogy at least, I think. So I think it'll do really well.
Will Martha be involved?
Well, speaking of Martha, Martha actually dies in Superman Lois. Spoilers for everybody. Martha Kent.
Oh,
that
now
is.
I've got no reason to watch it.
Martha Kent, not Martha Wayne, because obviously she died long ago.
I was gonna call her Martha Batman. Sorry.
Yeah.
So the dad's alive still in this.
No, he dies too.
Oh wow.
Yeah, a lot of death in this show. So
A great show, Justin.
I think y'all should just check. Like I said, just watch the first 3 minutes of it. Just watch that. It's a cool kind of trailer for Superman, and then if you don't want to watch the rest of it, fine. But just watch that part of it.
Oh, you know what? I think we should watch the whole thing and do a podcast about it.
Well, we're kind of doing that now.
Like an
But yeah.
like a 30-minute podcast about that episode.
Yeah, or I mean, like
Listen, we're almost going over an hour and a half on this one. Okay, there's no way we're doing 30 minutes on anything.
I'll just say this, y'all. Someone watch Superman and Lois, and the next week,
Right.
let me know what you think about it. And episode 2 comes out Tuesday night, so you can watch the first 2 episodes
Tonight?
maybe. Yeah, it's tonight. Yeah.
I volunteer Frank as tribute.
So
I will watch it this week.
sounds good. Okay, so next week we're coming back with the season finale, maybe series finale of WandaVision. So for George, Brittany, Frank, and Nathan, this is Justin signing off. We will see y'all next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye, all.
Yeah.